No.
Hello, if you're watching this presentation, you have registered to come to a BeCollaboration meeting. So we thought it only fair to give you a little bit of a heads up of what to expect, what BeCollaboration is all about, because actually it's probably not like anything you've experienced before. So my name is Gill Tiney, and I'm joined today by Erkan Ali, who is my co-founder for BeCollaboration, and we just thought we'd spend a little bit of time sharing with you why this community even exists and what it means to us, and how pleased we are that you're coming along, and we're looking forward to meeting you.
Fantastic. Really great to be here today and discussing, sharing some ideas about BeCollaboration. So let's get straight into it. So we want to share some ideas with you today. And first idea is this concept that we have a brain of two halves. There's other components in there, obviously, but we do have this idea of there's a brain of two halves, and it's understood that our left brain is quite methodical, it's quite detail driven, it kind of calculates.
It's
logistical. It's
common sense.
I think what we kind of often think of as brainy people are kind of left brained.
Yeah.
And if you look at the image, it's kind of, you can see there's equations and formulas and on the right hand we have this kind of creative, expansive, and I think the real difference, I think it's almost like a paradox to the brain, actually, because the left brain is very methodical, detail driven, very separate from everyone else. You have this real presence that you're an individual, and then there's this idea that when in more enlightened moments, we've had a few drinks and we're happy. I love you. You're connected to everybody. Why can't we all just get along? And that's kind of dynamic of the left and right brain. And we talk a lot about that at BeCollaboration in our meetings, and it's in the background there. So we're going to expand on that idea a little bit more, this idea of the right brain and the heart conversation. And BeCollaboration is very much a heart-based conversation. So one thing we say, we're not like-minded people, we're like-hearted. So, and if you look around at your relationships, there's people you just get on with. You don't have to explain it. It's just
click. There's something about it that call it chemistry, call it what it is. But quite often when we operate from our right brain, it's our intuitive way of being, and it is more a heart-led conversation and a way of going. It just feels right. It just feels good, and that's how we feel. A lot of people come to BeCollaboration, and they sit there and they're not sure what it is. They can't put their finger on it. But
what happened here? But I like it.
Yes,
I'm not sure what's going on.
It feels right. Yeah. I love it, but I'm not sure why. And one of our guests recently said, well, you're just a bunch of people that love each other, aren't you? And it kind of fits that, yes, it is a heart conversation. You can't use logic to it. You can't put your finger on it. You can't say 2 + 2 = 4 when it's talking about such a bigger conversation.
Yeah, I was just thinking about my children. They might do something that you're not happy with, but you still can't get that serious about it, because at the end of the day, no matter what they spilt or what they didn't do, or they left their homework behind or whatever, you just kind of go, no, I love you anyway, whatever. Yeah. And it's that kind of dynamic. It's that kind of empathic, compassion, connection to other people. And when you've been working with people in that space, you get more done, you reach further, you dig deeper. I think the loyalty and the alignment's different. So that's really the essence of the space that we're creating. And that leads us on to our next idea of filters. And so the way you could, listen to what we're sharing today is about starting to consider those filters. What lenses are shaping your view of the world.
And we've all got a different way of looking at the world because we've all got a different history. Not one person looks at things in exactly the same way. Cézanne used to say that nobody sees colour in the same way. Yellow to me is a different colour to yellow to you. And the whole world is construed from your experience so far. So we have had collaborators or guests sitting in the room with their arms folded and saying, what's your business model? What does this and how does this work? And we don't know all the answers, but we just do know what we're trying to create, and we don't know all the solutions, but we're actually keen to find them, and we know that we can't do that on our own. So we want people to consider what's being said at any BeCollaboration meeting, whether it's this introduction that you're listening to now, whether when you get to a meeting you go, that sounds a bit weird. Well, weird can be good. Take it from a different perspective rather than discount anything. Why are you discounting something? Why are you disagreeing with something? And it might open up your view to a new way of looking at your life, or a new way of looking at the way forward. And that's why we like to say we solve the unsolvable, because when there's a few people together, it's like, oh, I never saw it like that before. That's really interesting. and you can move it forward to the next level.
Yeah, and look, rather than getting too overwhelmed with all that, is just think about how does this affect what my challenges are? How does this information help me move my opportunities and my what I'm committed to in life and in work and in play, and so where we're at is really just pushing yourself forward in what's important to you. So moving on to our vision for BeCollaboration is that we bring together talent, technical ability and visionary thinking to empower individuals and organisations.
And we are passionate about impacting human performance. We do this with velocity, compassion, humour and love.
Yeah, I mean, you probably get stuck on a few, so I imagine a few of the filters already been triggered. Love? What does that mean? What the hell does velocity mean? Well, look, with velocity, just an insight to velocity is about producing breakthrough results, taking a jump or a leap in performance. We've all had them. Balance is one such skill that you didn't have, and then suddenly you have it, and you have it forever. So it's those kind of ways of working and thinking. And, the idea of love is really about, there's only two, if you distill down every conversation, comes out of love or fear, and
Absolutely.
That's one way of looking at it. Okay, so quite often, Gill, don't people ask us and ask you, what does collaboration actually mean?
Yeah, well, they think they know what it means. This is interesting, and we beavered away and we looked at the dictionary definition. So the traditional view of collaboration is to work with others with shared objectives to produce something. Might be a project or something. Or there's another view as well, the traitorous cooperation with an enemy. So if you think of collaborators, you generally think of World War II and the French resistance and Germans
Nazi sympathisers.
It's all quite
Sounds quite clandestine, Gill.
Yeah. Well, we're kind of 21st century collaborators and collaboration. So we've identified for ourselves through our own experience of what collaboration is for us.
So new view is the idea of us at our best, humanity at its best. So, when you're on your good day, the wind's in the right direction, the sun's out, you're getting the phone calls, you're creating a dynamic, you're getting on with people. It's just that kind of like you're in flow. You could call it in the zone. We call it a BeCollaboration, meaning you're a genius. Whatever.
Cooking with gas.
Yeah, exactly. We're firing all cylinders. So within that space, could you imagine pulling three people together? And our definition is a creative endeavour with three or more people that produces something of value that makes a difference that otherwise would not exist. So it's kind of pulling together two or more people, or three or more people, should I say, and creating something that you wouldn't have had otherwise. And we've all done it. We've all been in those experiences where we've kind of done something, and you look back and go, "Wow, you've added something that you're really great at."
It's a great environment to be in when you're actually with three people who you get on with. There's a buzz, there's a connection, and that could be a connection through a trust you've developed or an alignment you've got through a committed culture. But when you actually start working together and there's that respect and that knowledge and that experience, and that magic starts to happen, because then something comes out of that could never happen before. And I've experienced that many times with BeCollaboration members, where you get together on a project and all of a sudden it's like, oh, aren't we clever? Wow, we've done that. The three of us have done that. That's really cool. And then you can expand it and take it bigger. It's a powerful thing.
But quite often, yes, that is a sperm and egg. But if you think of ideas, Gill, don't we kind of have ideas? Hey, you know what? Why don't we do this and do that? And John can get that bit, and whoever, whatever. And then suddenly, 2 months later, people say, "So what happened to that?" And they go, "Oh yeah, that didn't kind of come off, right?" So every idea, or every in the context of this presentation, is every collaboration starts somewhere. And this metaphor is a way for us to see that there's kind of a pre-conception, and then there's this idea of once the idea has got a hold, it needs to be nurtured, it needs to be looked after, it needs to be tended to, and it needs to be owned by those people who are involved with it. And that, concerted effort and time, produces something that would not have otherwise existed. So we really look at all those things that and if you think back, how often or how many ideas have you got that you let fall by the wayside?
Oh, so many.
Really important things, even maybe going back as far as childhood, teenage, adulthood, and then you've got all your reasons why those things aren't happening.
Well, the thing is, when you've got an idea and you're really, really excited about the idea, but you're on your own, it's really hard to maintain that momentum to keep it going.
Yeah, it takes
but then when you get somebody else that comes along who's as excited as you are about this idea, and then somebody else comes along that goes, this is brilliant, let's do it, all of a sudden you're not on your own anymore.
No, and you've got other people that are buying into it. And the thing with this this idea is that it goes beyond the fragile, vulnerable stage of an idea. That, and you think about everything is just ideas and action over time, isn't it? Anything that comes into reality. Sometimes I say to my kids, there's only sort of like three things in the world: is resources, people, and ideas. You know, and if you pull those ideas together and you get the people, and you pull out whatever material things you need to make it happen, you can create amazing outcomes.
And that's kind of who we're looking for, is people that GSD, as we say at BeCollaboration, get shit done. Are you one of those people that are saying to your mates, oh, we should get together sometime, and they will go, yeah, great, but you're the one that drives it? You're the one that actually makes it happen. Everyone goes, that was a brilliant night, we should do it again. And then no dates come forward, nothing happens, and you're the one that drives it again. If you're that sort of person that makes things happen, but you feel like you're doing it under your own steam, that's quite hard. Come and meet some other people that are also like that and want to help and want to do things with you and actually create something that you can look back and be proud of. Almost to the extent of leaving a legacy. How wonderful would it be to go, yeah, look, we did that. That's amazing.
I think this idea of, what people do is roll their sleeves up and get on with it on their own. I love to quote Dave Neese when he was in front of a room. He said to people, one of our collaborators, he said, who here in the room has a dream? And everyone puts their hands up. And he said, who thinks they can achieve it without collaboration? And all hands go down. Is that you can only get so far on your own. And I think, if you're at that stage where you've got loads of things still within you dormant, or even ideas of things going, or you're in full-on action on something, what you always realise is that you need other people involved, otherwise it can't get that far. And on that note, I mean, this is probably one of our most important slides of the presentation, is this idea of a 3D view of any opportunity, subject, challenge, or, whatever it is, right? So 3D, the idea of bringing 3 or more people is they'll have a different view, they'll have a different lens, and I think this image really demonstrates it well. Look at from one angle, from left to right, the solution or the projection is a square with a orange light, and it looks the way it looks. So if you had your FD or your finance director looking at a project, they'd look at it from the numbers, they'd look at it from the measurables, they'd look at it from a very specific point of view, which is great.
And you need that.
And you need that, absolutely. And if you go from left to right, the outcome is a blue image with a round circle. So that a projection looks different, completely different to the other one, but they're equally focused on the same situation. That could be a more creative type of person. And, again, this really dovetails well into the left brain, right brain.
Yeah.
Your accountant will have the left brain, or the finance director will have the left brain, the creative entrepreneur or the visionary will have the right brain view. And yet, you've got to kind of pull these things together. And then it's the third view. Maybe someone's looking at it from a different angle and sees both sides, or a different way of approaching the challenge.
And that's the magic where collaboration comes in, because collaboration between 3 people or more creates the context for what the whole situation is. And without that context, you're not going to get very far.
Yeah.
Because if you're just going on your worldview and how you see things, you are going to come a cropper at some point. But to have that third view, and you've got the context of the whole situation, all of a sudden it becomes very clear of what you've got to do.
Yeah, I mean, this is a mission-driven, project-driven, dynamic approach in the spirit of causing the outcome. So along the way, you may have to kind of pull and push and move around a bit more liquid in your approach. But the outcome is definitely something you couldn't have done without those 3 people. So it's something that exists that would otherwise not exist.
Yeah.
So, if you're wondering what Gill and Erkan look like, there you go. That's Gill on the left and Erkan on the right. Yeah. So we met 4
years ago, 2012.
You didn't count the days. I thought you were going to say 4,500 days. So we met a while back, and on paper, Gill and I are not probably the best match.
We do supposedly do the same thing. We would say originally when we first met, what do you do? I'm a business coach. That's what you do, but that's not what we're passionate about. And actually, we do things in a very different way. So coaching from me would be totally different from coaching from Erkan. But the outcome is to have a successful client. It's the same thing that we're after. So we worked out that working together, actually our talents complemented each other. But then why just leave it with 2 people? Let's make it 3, 5, 10. And that's how the community was born. So that we've got an awful lot of people around us who are very clever and specialist in what they do. And we can draw on that. We can draw on that talent. But we don't just draw on it for the doing of the day job. We draw on it for every aspect that we need. And they draw on each other as well. So you come along with people who all they're out for is to make a difference to the person sitting next to them, to the community in the room, or to the wider world.
Yeah.
And some people have amazing missions that they want to, impact the planet in such a big way. And you don't have to have things in common. You don't have to be voting for the same political party or have the same amount of money in your bank account. It's totally irrelevant. It's about what drives you and what passion you have.
Great. So we're going to introduce you to a video now. This is a video by Dr. Bruce Lipton. It's a bigger picture type video. What we want to do is kind of address some societal things that impact our life and something that impacts you personally and all of us, because we do live in a bigger, wider context. So this is Bruce Lipton, and this is his video on imaginal cells.
The wonderful part about nature being fractal is that we can use patterns in nature to understand other patterns that exist, because patterns repeat themselves. So now if you want to look at a pattern that's playing itself out on this planet right now that will give us insight about what is going on.
So I say, look inside a caterpillar that's growing.
And a caterpillar represents, let's say, 7 billion cells living under the same skin. Each cell is a citizen.
And guess what? They're like people like us. They're working every day. Cells in the digestive system are taking the food and breaking it down and making products out of it.
Some cells are the motility cells. Those are the cells that move the caterpillar around. The structures of like our highways with trucks and vehicles carrying materials all over the place, something like that.
Cells of the immune system are taking their job of protecting the system. Respiration system is making sure fresh oxygen is being delivered. So all the cells have jobs. The caterpillar's growing. If you were in there and a reporter, you look around going, yeah, the economy is going great guns. It's growing every day. Everybody's working, full employment. This is the kind of thing we love to see. How much are we growing every day? Some percent every day.
And then the caterpillar reaches a certain stage of growth. And at that stage of growth, it just stops eating. It can't take it anymore at this point. It's reaching a maximum size. Then if you're a cell inside that community, imagine what would happen. That you're on the job and all of a sudden there's less food coming in and you're a digestive cell and you say, well, man, the work is slowing down here. The factory is slowing down. Then all of a sudden it gets to such a low level that many cells get laid off of the job. Now their cell's not working. Why? There's not enough food coming in to keep them all working. And as the food shuts down, then the other jobs are affected, because if there's no food, then there's no energy, and all the systems start laying off cells, and pretty soon there's massive chaos under the skin of a caterpillar. Why? The system stops growing, the cells are out of work, nothing is evolving, and the thing is falling apart. If you were a cell in that caterpillar body at that time, you would look around and say, oh my God, our world is coming to an end. And yet, in the midst of those billions of cells,
in among them are other cells that are genetically identical to them. No different. But they think differently. They respond to the signals differently.
these cells have the interesting name called imaginal cells. And these imaginal cells come up with new visions. And what happens is, in the midst of all this chaos, when all the other cells are running around thinking the end of the world is coming, the new imaginal cells are laying out new ideas, new visions, a new plan, a new scheme, a new way of life. And around these ideas, the cells reorganize, and they start to create new massive organizations to create something much more fabulous than the previous system. A system that is much more sustainable, a system with a higher level of evolution. And that system they're constructing called the butterfly. So there's a transition from an old world of caterpillar with an old belief system and an old way of life that was no longer sustainable.
And therefore, you have two choices in this world right now. You can retain your caterpillar status and go, oh my God, the sky is falling, and be in fear. Or you can say, the caterpillar is going, I want to build the butterfly. Why? Because if I become active and, positive in the process of building the butterfly, I'm engaged, I'm working, we're creating the future. If I sit there and bemoan the loss of the caterpillar, then I'm making myself sick and everything around me. Why? I'm not contributing to our evolution. And so, where are we? We're at the demise of the caterpillar stage of civilization and the rise of the butterfly.
Wow. I mean, if you're seeing that video for the first time, we completely get it. So, that's the world right now. In many respects, this world of fear, scarcity, competition, everybody running around trying to get what's theirs, surviving every day, doing your best, if we look at media. So we're not going to spend too long on that, but I think we all have our own experience of that, and you can reflect on that for yourself. But moving forward, there's the world of the caterpillar. The world of the caterpillar has a certain view of the world, has a certain way of moving around, has a certain kind of there are certain possibilities that's afforded to the caterpillar, and there's certain limitations. And I think if you look at your communication skills, your motivational skills, your leadership, or your ability to be productive and open to ideas. Well, you could use the metaphor and go, well, currently I'm in a caterpillar state in that. And what would that look like, Gill? If we could transform that into the next stage, into the caterpillar stage, from that to
caterpillar is often we only know what we only know, and we don't know another way of being because we've been taught so much through the education system and through our media of what to expect, what's right, what's the way forward. And then when you realise actually there is another way, that we can transform, we can make a difference to how we are being at the moment. When somebody cuts you up on the road, you don't have to get upset and get cross about it. You can actually, maybe they were in a bit of a rush and, I'll let them go ahead, that's fine, and not actually let it upset you. It's a different way of being. And at BeCollaboration, we talk a lot about who are you being, how are you being, and what do you know, what comes with you when you walk in the room, and what is your being? Is it being of an accountant? Are you being that? Or would you actually rather be something that's more impassioned and empowered? So we see the world and society at the stage, as Bruce has just explained, going from a caterpillar into that cocoon. We're kind of shielding ourselves for something that might come, whether it be via Donald Trump or all the other things that you read about on a Sunday morning in the newspapers. There are some scary things out there, but there is another way.
I think what we're really encouraging is this notion of the world of the butterfly, and this idea of a world predicated with love, connection, and abundance. And what kind of society, what kind of everyday life. So we're connecting the big societal things with the everyday experience of life, and we're really looking at propagating that notion, working towards and furthering these ideas of love, connection, and abundance. Now, you kind of work that for long enough, you start to experience a life of where we can achieve more when we work together. When you connect people that are in alignment, that have clear shared values, that are operating from the heart, and the mind is very much there. Don't get me wrong, we're not excluding the mind, but I think we're bringing up the balance of the right brain. I think the outcomes to make a difference, to produce breakthrough results, to be in that transformational space around other people that are exploring those avenues is a really interesting and attractive, alluring space. So in your mind, Gill, like what kind of example, what are collaborators, members saying about their experience of being part of BeCollaboration?
Well, what are they getting up to? I think sometimes for me it's quite a humbling experience to see what they get up to. We've had people that stand at the front of the room and go, I've got an idea, can anyone help? And then I've been overwhelmed by the response of people who go, I love that, that's brilliant, yeah, I'll do, what can I do to help you? So we've had Beju Solanki, who's got his project, Want to Be an Entrepreneur off the ground, helping 18 to 24-year-olds to learn more about how to be entrepreneurs, which he believes they don't get in a business degree. I don't think that's necessarily one of the modules.
I think it was more type of school leaving age. Don't get that at school, let alone business degree.
That's true. That's true.
So the entrepreneurial spirit and getting to 200 youngsters in a room and start.
But what was amazing is, could he have done that on his own? He wanted to, he could have done that, but we had over 16 collaborators supporting him and helping him on that, not get paid a penny. But hopefully one day something will come out of that, because potentially it's turning into business. But that's not why they did it. They did it because they loved his passion, they loved his idea, and they loved where he was going with it. Other collaborators have done many, many things like that. And it can be such a small thing from a joint venture with, can my business help your business? Or it might be, I've got an idea, can you come and help me? Or even, I need, I've had a bereavement and I need some support, can you help me on that? And we've seen it happen in so many different ways, and so many things have been created from people that have wanted to do things for a long, long time, but felt they couldn't, or they didn't know how, or they felt impotent in the face of, I'm on my own. So when you share something with other people who actually get what you're trying to do, and they love what you're trying to do, then their passion and your passion combine to see what can come out of it. So we've had lots of many examples.
I think also there's another key element here is of a community. You know, a community is many things. It's not just one thing. It's not just about coming together to gain business or improve our business activity. It's not just about our personal. It's not just, and it's also about our dreams. It's also about our aspirations and our kind of innate desire to make a difference to people and make a difference to the world. So there you go, personal spiritual growth. So how do we come about those? Well, we have some core values. Here's 3 from our vision and mission. One is collaboration, humanity at its best. Human being first, everything else comes after. Imagine how many roles we play. If you look at your life and think, right, I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a husband, I'm a employer, I'm a business owner, I'm a man, I'm a brother. You know, there's so many roles we have to play. I'm a friend. You know, you look at all the roles you have to play in life. It's like, but take all those roles and all those, if you like, professions and positions you've had in life, and you just distill it all down, is that you're a human being first. And then there's this other idea of wonder. What would childhood be without it? You know, what would you do if you could do anything? If you really took the time to indulge and just stop the world for a little while and start to say, well, what's my life about? What am I going to leave on the table? You know, if you look at all the great things you could do in life, what are you willing to leave on the table? And what are you not willing to leave on the table?
And what would be a regret?
Yeah.
The 80, 90 years of age, and you go, oh, if only we should have done that.
Yeah. So that's that, a little touch on that. And then obviously in preparation for your attending our meeting, here's a couple of things we'd like you to try on. You know, look, just try something new when you come to the meeting. We're not asking you to buy it. We're not asking to buy it. You know, we're not asking you to agree or disagree, but creating this fluid space where people can explore and, you know, like when you go and buy a new jacket, you just put it on, try it. If it feels good, great. If it doesn't, put it back on the rail and try something else. Meet and connect with other people. I mean, it's a really open, warm space. People are really friendly. You know, what I would say is get around and talk to as many people as you can, because they'll be really open. Oh, and be open.
And there are times in the meetings as well when you might get thought has come to you that actually is quite a challenging thought for you. Don't keep it to yourself. Please share it with somebody next to you that might be able to support you through it. So everyone wants to help you. And things come at the strangest times. You think somebody's doing a presentation on sales and you think, oh, I know all about sales. But actually, they say things in such a different way. You think, oh, I've never thought about that before. That's not how I do things. I should do it that way. Or I used to do it that way, but I don't anymore.
Prepare for the unexpected.
Exactly. And I think at the end of the day, you will see if you look at any of the photos on any of the websites or anything you find from us, we have a lot of fun. It's a lot of giggles. It can be a bit silly. But at the end of the day, we're just enjoying ourselves. It's an afternoon, and a lot of collaborators say it's their monthly fix. They come once a month. They try and come twice, maybe 3 times a month. But if they're feeling low, especially if they're a lone ranger and they're working from home or they've got an office on their own and they're not seeing anyone, they come to BeCollaboration to get their fix of what they would love their life to be like, and mixing with people that can encourage them and motivate them and support them and help them. And they have a jolly nice time.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, just to remind you that after the meeting finishes, there is a social. So, you know, if you can stay for that, and we find that most people want to, because it's a chance just to start to talk about some of the things that were discussed in the meeting, get to find out a bit more about the other participants and the other guests, or the other collaborators, I should say. So, on that note, we want to thank you for watching. Really appreciate you taking the time. And from me and Gill, have a fab day, and see you at the next meeting.
Look forward to meeting you. Excuse me. I've done well not to cough all the way through. We start a meeting at 3 o'clock sharp, so get there a little bit before, 10 to 1:45, because there'll be collaborators milling around, having little meetings. You'll get to start chatting to them and having fun and getting to meet them really early on. What you'll find is there are a few breaks in between where you do get to chat to fellow collaborators, ask them anything you want about the meeting. But my hardest job when I MC the whole thing is to get people to sit down and shut up.
And sit down.
Because the next bit's happening.
That's not very collaborative.
They get so excited. They get so excited about talking to each other. So don't waste a minute. Come early, meet them as you can, and make sure you don't have to rush off too soon. We usually go and have a drink at the bar, 6 o'clock, something like that. And it's really good to catch up with everyone. So we look forward to seeing you there.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.